The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing Icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomasz Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters in Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Hey, welcome to the #1 real estate podcast network and the Icons of Real Estate podcast. I'm your host, Kat Timpson. Today, my guest is Michelle Mumoli of Mimoli Collective, a real estate agent in my neck of the woods, actually, in Jersey City, New Jersey. Michelle and her team focus in northern New Jersey. You know what? Let me start that again. It's just messy. I apologize. We'll do it.
Okay.
Do over.
We got takes. We got takes.
We do, exactly. 3, 2, 1. Hey, welcome to the #1. Oh my God, it's going to be that day. It's going to be that day. I'm sorry. One more time. And I was in broadcasting. How sad is that? Ooh, okay. Apologies. Bloopers, exactly. We'll have that on the reel for the holidays. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Hey, welcome to the #1 real estate podcast network and the Icons of Real Estate podcast. I'm your host, Kat Timpson. Today, I have an incredible guest from my neck of the woods, Michelle Mumoli. Michelle is the leader of Mimoli Collective. She's a real estate agent in Jersey City, New Jersey, and she and her team focus on northern New Jersey and parts of Middlesex and Somerset counties here. She's a full service team, which helps everything from athletes to relocating to builders and developers and buyers and sellers. And I'm just so excited to have her because we don't always get people with teams on the show, and I just love it. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you for having me.
I love having you. This is so great. I really wanted to start with the opportunity to hear about how you got into this business. It's not an easy one, and I always love to hear what people's origin stories are.
Well, I come from an arts background. So I was in film. I was a curator, an arts curator in town. I've been in Jersey City for 21 years. So that's kind of my background and sort of working in events organizing and things like that.
Oh, cool. So then how did you make that leap to what we do, which is a totally different thing, but has things that resonate, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. So my parents owned properties in Newark growing up. And so we kind of self-managed. We were like a family-run type of business. And I never really thought about it until I was working like 120-hour weeks freelancing in the arts. And I was like, there's got to be a better way, you know? And now I work 120-hour weeks selling real estate.
So you just moved the time over. Well, how long have you been in the business, Michelle?
I've been in the business for 11 years.
Oh, cool. And so how did it come that you started? Did you start as a single agent and move to a team?
I did. I started as a single agent at a very small brokerage, just kind of got thrown into the ocean with no life vest and was like, go figure it out. And I have learned from some pretty amazing people, and I continue to learn every single day because this business is a constant learning and education environment. Yeah. And I continue to learn, and I imbue my experience and the skills that I have collected throughout the years to my teammates, to my team members.
And how many people do you have on your team?
Right now I have 2. It is growing. So
awesome.
Yeah, so we can service a lot of different areas and service a lot of different needs, which is very crucial for an expanding team.
Yeah. So one of the things you and I were talking about a little bit before, and I wanted the audience to know, so Michelle, she has her team, but not all teams do everything, right? So one of the things, let's talk about what you like to focus on or what you're going to be focusing on a little more in the future in terms of more commercial or development work. I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, so I have experience doing new developments with just my knowledge of the planning boards here and zoning and all that stuff. So we can now actually service, we just are about 90% finished on a building here that we have leased in roughly about 18 weeks in Jersey
Wow.
City. Yes, with very devoted developers of ours. And so we will continue to use that to continue to work with some preferred clients as well. We do not work with everyone. The synergy really has to be there because we need to be able to do our job and we need to have that sort of rapport with the developers where they trust us and they trust us and we trust them in turn, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. For those people who are watching and may not know Jersey City, it's right across from New York City, near Hoboken as well. Wait, can you tell people what the layout of the market is and what sort of your focus is in terms of what kind of real estate is, your biggest focus in terms of, is it apartments, homes? How does that work?
There is a lot of condo inventory, right? So we do a lot of condos because obviously cities, you end up building vertically.
Mm.
So we do a lot of condos. We also do a lot of condo conversions with some of our investors and our seller clients that are homeowners that are trying to capitalize on ROI. But we also do a lot of, there's historic homes here. We have brownstones, we have row homes. We also have the new construction that comes from what is a home that may have been completely not kept up that
Mm.
needs to be torn down and rebuilt. So we kind of do a little bit of everything, and then we do a lot of relocations within an hour to an hour and a half of a Manhattan commute for a lot of our clients as well, because we do have a lot of New York City commuters in this area. And so when they go out into the suburbs, what you get is really single family homes, predominantly. So you don't get a lot of investors out there. You may get some flippers, investor flippers, but mainly it's end user buyers.
Yeah, I love that. So I'm actually curious if you've been in that area for a while. How have you seen that progression, both for agents and also for people who have moved from into Jersey City and then developed, more of their business there?
It's interesting because there are so many competing agents in these areas, right? New Jersey is a very large
Mhm.
state. We have a lot of agents. I
Yeah.
think that if you can, I have built my business as a referral business, right? It's 99% a referral business. It's almost 100% a referral business, really, because it's from people who have worked with me who then spread the word. So that in and of itself is huge because I'm not on Zillow. I hardly really take cold calls. I work with agents around the world really who will refer me and say, hey, if you were looking to invest in this area, call Michelle. If you're looking to buy in this area, call Michelle because of my connections. Um, but it's just kind of a matter of where you find your niche, really.
Mhm. Yeah. So when you say that you are all referral, for those of you guys who don't know, that really means she's connected to so many people. Michelle, you have amazing relationships. But do you use any marketing in your business? Because it's so much a part of so many agents' lives to create their own marketing plan and then have to carry it out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We do have a marketing plan. We set up marketing plans for our continued sphere for our preferred clients, which we have that marketing set up. We have our CRMs are set up to do these continuous reaches to our clients. And we kind of just stay on the pulse of what it is that they need by staying right here, right? Staying
Mhm.
top of mind for them.
Yeah.
But also really it is about relationships, right? It's about like, who are you calling on your phone? I always tell my agents that like 20% of the people on your phone are going to be providing you about 80% of your business.
Yeah, exactly. Because those are the people that are in your sphere and in your world. Yeah.
Correct.
Well, you've been doing it for a nice chunk of time. What do you think is the most interesting thing that has changed about how real estate is being done, either by the agents or by the customers?
Oh, so many things have changed. I remember when I first started, Zillow and Trulia were not the same company. And I
Mm.
don't think Zillow had that big of a market share. Now, obviously, the state had adopted nationally, there's new adopted buyer agency regulations.
Yeah.
Statewide, we started adopting them at the beginning of August. But I think that, again, like the value that somebody is going to get from you, whether whoever that client is, because I see people with all kinds of real estate needs. And sometimes they really just need an advisor that understands where they are at that particular point in time in their journey to say, hey, maybe, it isn't about getting that listing. Maybe you shouldn't sell this right now. Maybe hold on to it, maybe rent it. Or whatever the case may be, or maybe you diversify your portfolio doing, a mix of several things depending on who you're working with. But it really is about your value and what you're bringing to the table. And to be quite frank, there's not a lot of value from a lot of newer agents that is being provided to their clients right now because they don't have the experience to provide that value. And that is where the relationships are created.
Between you and as opposed to a younger agent. Yeah. If you
Yeah, and also between us and a cold caller, right? And a cold caller
Sure.
who's like, I just want you to open this door. And
Yeah.
that's not what we do. There's agencies that do that and they can do that and they do that really well, but we provide a whole lot more value than opening a door.
So what would you like your sort of perfect client to come to you because of? Like, what do you want somebody to think I need and then immediately think of you and your team?
Oh my gosh, it's everything. You would be surprised. I get, interior design questions. I start working with sellers and buyers like a year before they're ready to buy and sell.
Wow.
Because it's really sort of setting them up for what are you doing? How can we get you there? Is there credit needs for a buyer? For a seller, it's how are we going to position your home if you need to start doing these repairs, and then connecting them with our what I like to call the Momo list, which is a list of
I love
our
that.
preferred contractors and our preferred real interior designers. I can space plan and I can say, maybe paint that and move that over there and do this over there. We have amazing stagers. Everything is kind of done on a plan, right? I put everybody on a plan and say, let's do this in 2 months, let's do this in 90 days out. Then we'll bring in our media suite to do all of the things that we need to do to get the marketing ready to go. So it's long-term plays here. It's not like, you want to list your house? I'm gonna list your house. I'm gonna send you the paperwork. I'm gonna put it on the MLS. It's like, let's get it exactly how we feel that it needs to be presented. Let's get you to the place that you need to be. And even with the developers too, it's, are we far enough along where we can give input into what these floor plans look like and what actual tenants or buyers, if it's a condo, are looking for to be able to really maximize the best and highest use for you.
It's so thoughtful the way you're approaching it. I think that a lot of people outside of our industry think, again, yes, that people are just door openers and or it's like a haircut. I need my haircut now, right? I need to sell my house now. And it's just not the way when you have a great agent. I also would love to know, you know, I think the thing about investment that's so intriguing is I have a lot of customers or clients who want to invest, but they're not developers. Can you talk about the difference between the benefits of development versus just investment, maybe?
Sure. I mean, for somebody who's coming in as an investor, first time investor, I go through various plays with them as if to educate them on this can potentially become something that is much bigger that you haven't even thought of, right? Because your mind is only as large as you can imagine it. And you think of these like multi-million dollar corporations as the developers, but there
Yeah.
are developers that develop on a much smaller scale that may have started out just like may have started out just buying a two-family home and then maximizing the ROI on that 2 or 3 family. And then, pulling the equity from that and doing it again, and pulling the equity from that and doing it again. And so I kind of approach it in that way of but education, right? Like education is so important to really build generational wealth, because there is this discrepancy of understanding, understanding credit, right? A lot of people don't understand credit, and there's so much misinformation out there about like,
Yeah.
oh, you got to live credit free, you shouldn't have this and that. But the American credit system relies on credit. Like you will
Yes.
not get more credit if you don't have established credit, which
Correct.
means having a debt to income ratio of some variety. Um, and so I kind of start there with them to say, this is how you build your wealth. It is credit dependent, and you can leverage things as you create more credit and more equity. But that's a big thing that a lot of people don't know, and I think they're getting a lot of misinformation out there about.
Oh, absolutely. I think that people are armchair quarterbacks about a lot of things, but certainly about how to invest. And I think we've seen, especially in our northeastern area, how year over year there's been steady growth, and um, it may not hit highs, excessive highs, but it's been consistent, which is really kind of exciting.
Yeah, that's a really amazing thing. Like 2020 was my most successful year in the business, and it's
Mhm.
because suburban areas of New Jersey, who were like the sub-markets of the bigger markets,
Yeah,
had not seen appreciation rates over like 2 to 3% in decades, or ever. And
yeah,
all of a sudden they saw appreciation rates from 2019 to 2020 into 2021 that were at some places 20%,
yes,
because the high demand areas were already like oversaturated with buyers, and so they started to go into those minor submarkets,
yeah.
and they're still seeing appreciation from that.
Absolutely. And also different kinds of properties where everybody thought it was going to just be one family, and now it's one family where you might need a space that now kids have homework, or there's a home office, or you're used to commuting. So that was an aspect that maybe you don't have as much. It was really got very complicated.
Yeah, it really did. It's been a dynamic time in our lives.
Yeah, very exciting. Well, I'm excited about what you're doing, and I'd love to know and tell people where you see sort of the next steps for you. I mean, I would imagine growth of a team, but I make no assumptions. Tell me what's, next for Michelle Mumoli.
I am continuing to grow my team here in New Jersey, and I am always looking to help people. I'm looking for opportunities to grow the business and to be able to really educate people and explain how they can really create a wonderful life out of their real estate plan, which is something that a lot of people don't really realize. A lot of people might say it's the stock market. I don't know the stock market that well. I know real estate. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we are continuing to grow, and we have really wonderful projects lined up, and we're always helping people and always looking forward to working with really wonderful people.
It's so exciting. I love that. So if somebody is looking for you, either an agent, hey, if you guys are agents and you're looking for a wonderful team and want to reach out to Michelle, or if you are a potential client for her, how is the best way for them to reach you?
You can find me on Instagram, Michelle Mumoli Realtor, or the Mimoli Collective NJ. You can find me on my website, themimolicollective.com. You can reach out to me personally on my cell, 973-454-3543, or you can email me, michelle.mumoli@compass.com. I'm very easy to find on the internet. I'm everywhere.
Great. And I will have that in the show notes so people will definitely be able to reach out. Well, thank you. This has been great. I really appreciate it. I love being able to introduce a variety of different agents to the marketplace and to our podcast network. So thank you so much, Michelle, for the time.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Well, listen, you guys out there, if you enjoyed this episode, we really appreciate it if you'd share it with friends, colleagues, family, and from our studio to your success, we're the Icons of Real Estate podcast, and I'm your host, Kat Timpson.